come to the visioning sessions in person tomorrow, they can do a very, very similar exercise on the website online from the comfort of their homes in front of the fireplace with, a nice glass of water or something else. So if you're on the slopes and you're missing the in-person events, or if people are out of town or anything like that, they can go to the website and do very similar exercise and provide us their input. And we've had actually quite a bit of people going in on the website already. We've had photos, people have been uploading pictures, and I just saw today somebody went on there and provided us with quite a few comments. It's also great to have that conversation online. So, I would encourage everyone to check out the website also and participate there if you can't do it in person.
That's Planned Snowmass.
That's plansnowmass.com. Yes.
Okay, so over Friday, I don't remember the day of the week, there was a relatively large contingent of locals at a memorial service. Anyway, we got into a conversation about this whole planned snowmass. And the questions that I was being asked came from some very thoughtful people who have been here for a long time, and there was several questions I couldn't answer about what we were doing. Their questions centered around not, we want a crosswalk here or this or that or what have you. It became one of the values, a discussion around values. What are the values we hold most dear in our community that helps form the context of the aspiration statement? Where do you see that that whole conversation? The other thing we talked a lot about was inclusivity.
It was what? Sorry.
Inclusivity. So it got into who are we type of a conversation. What do we aspire to become? Where are we now? Is that part of the conversation, perhaps even tomorrow, or how might that be contemplated?
So that's exactly what the conversation will be tomorrow.
Okay.
Yep, a lot of that will be happening tomorrow. So that's why we're really hoping people will show up. And that's when we want folks to talk about those values and what is the vision for the future.
Okay.
So that conversation is happening now. Still kind of that big picture, as a community, who are we and what do we want, and what do we hold
Because when I was on the website, I don't know if you all follow on the website, but I've been kind of reading it. I don't see a lot about values.
Yeah, I agree. I see a lot of specifics
Yes,
about
yeah,
doing something this way or one way or
right,
another.
right. So I think it's really important that we delve into that whole conversation as part of this, because if we look back over the years of the comprehensive plans that we've had or tried to have and what have you, and probably Mr. Blumenthal well remembers the discussion around the aspiration statement. All the work that took, but it was formed based on values and what do we want to honor and support, not now, but not only now, but going long term. So I'll spend more time on the website.
Yep.
Thank you.
Well, and thank you for bringing that up. And, perhaps we add something on the website that is more to that, specifically.
If you
and that's
could,
easy
that
to
would
do.
be,
Yeah.
kind of another subsection.
For sure, because some of that will be happening during the workshop in person tomorrow. And so that would be a great addition to the website. Thank you for bringing that up.
Do you have any other questions, or been hearing a
I'm
buzz at all?
I'm excited to see what it's going to be like tomorrow, actually.
It's going to be a lot of people.
Yeah, I hope.
I
it's gonna
hope
be a lot
so.
of people.
Hundreds.
Let's hope the snow gods keep it okay and not over the top.
No. Don't go there.
People are going to
and,
come no matter
we
what.
might not-
Planning's big, but the snow is like our.
We might end up being here longer than we thought as well. We might not be able to fly out if the snow keeps up.
That could be very true.
We'll see.
Anybody have any other questions?
No.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, well, thanks for
We want to see
having
this
me.
map, but do we
Yeah,
need
what
to?
is this map?
It's just a map, a base map of the village, basically from rodeo grounds all the way up to past the mall. Yeah.
Does it go up to TOSV?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Top of the village.
Top of the village,
Yes.
TOV, yeah. been engaged in a lot of conversation about that too as well.
Ziegler Reservoir.
Okay,
up there
okay.
and-
Yeah, and we'll have and each table will have another little bit smaller map of the entire extent of the town, but it's just that there's so much of, it's mostly concentrated where the villages and
And
the
on the
activity
website,
is.
you've got the three big icon. One of them is maps, right?
Yes,
And that's basically the same as the Google map.
yes.
And
Very
what,
similar.
what exactly are you gonna use those tomorrow night? Are you gonna have basically screens with those particular, like, centered on each, maybe, say if you had 3 monitors, each one of them would be there, and somebody could say something about, you could bring it up on the Google map and bring it up, I mean, because I think a lot of people need to get on the plan, snowmass.com. I don't think they have yet.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you had something live for them to, even if it was a laptop that you could put on a screen like this,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah. Well, we'll be doing a quick presentation on PowerPoint, so we can definitely have the website up afterwards and kind of show people
Well, that's great.
the map tool and all of that, and what's on the website and how they can interact and where they can provide their
And
input.
on the
Yeah.
website and on the maps itself, but you don't necessarily have things highlighted on those maps, you know?
Well, all the street names are there, and I think
Street
once
names are
you
there.
zoom in, you can kind of see Snowmass Center or Base Village or the mall.
Just like a typical Google map.
Yeah, that's kind of the background of it. But what we're hoping is that people will, we're inviting people to use those little icons that are on the left side of the
Right.
map and click and hold and drag, and then and show us somewhere in the community where a
Well,
place that
that's
they
good.
love
I
or
mean,
where
if you had that live
they see
tomorrow night,
improvements. Yeah,
or
we can
tomorrow
show them.
afternoon at the beginning session, see how it goes.
Absolutely.
You might want to improve it by the 5 o'clock session, because I think, it's touchy-feely type stuff that people can get a hold of and really look at it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what there'll be this physical
Happy to.
map, there'll be 6 of these with the dots and there'll be lots of touchy-feely. Like
Yeah,
literally-
basically, I
literally
mean, what's on the
touchy-feely.
website is what we'll be doing on paper tomorrow.
Great.
But we can that's great. We can certainly have that on the wall.
I think if some, if people
Projecting.
just see the website live and they get a chance to see those, I forget what the 3 of, I know the map is one of them, and
Yep.
the other 2 are
Yep.
on there, and they click on them, and the comments are there.
Yep.
And you could even have the comments that are there now on the screen. I don't know if there's a way to split them all up on one big screen like that.
Probably not. But in the presentation, we're planning on having some of those comments, just as examples of things we've been hearing that
Okay.
people have been sharing on the website. So we'll be sharing some of that with folks tomorrow.
So, another elephant in the room. What role do you want us to play as council members? Being members of the community or
Absolutely.
members of council?
Absolutely.
Because no matter what we say as a community member, you're tagged as council.
Mm-hmm. But, I mean, I will give you just from my professional experience, typically in other communities, we invite, everyone, including council members, and it's great for all of you to be there and participate and hear what people are saying.
That's what I want to do, is
Also?
listen.
So you can be there and just listen if you want, and you can participate. It's up to you. But I think it's wonderful to have you there,
We'll
as
be
well
there,
as
but-
as well as town staff, and
Good.
we're really hoping everyone will show up.
There's a lot of interest in tomorrow,
That's good.
in Planapalooza.
I'm glad to hear
Yeah,
it.
I think
it would be nice if at least one of us were at each session.
I'm at the 5.
I'm
I'm at the noon.
Okay, and I think I'm gonna be at the noon too.
I'll probably be at the 5.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, we're covered.
I like the idea that you have the digital sign down the street also.
I saw that this
Reminding
morning.
people
That
is-
was great. I was like,
As soon as I saw that, I brought in a bag of donuts
it.
to Brian and his team and John Baker and just said, thank you, because I think that's such a good reminder
It's
for
a
people.
really good reminder. I thought it was really good. Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't know, can that sign be moved down to the rec center tomorrow? No?
Not easily.
I'll give you a solid maybe, but they got it where they got it. I think it is where it is. so.
The one, no, right below the bridge, yeah.
I think we should announce powder conditions on that.
I think just keep bringing the cops donuts and you'll be fine.
Okay, good.
wonderful.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very good.
Thank
Thank
you all.
you.
Thanks
Thank
for
you
having
very
me.
much.
Thank you.
See y'all tomorrow. Wonderful.
Okay, next item is Snowmass Discovery Center.
Guys,
Got you
come
guys
on up here.
present. Yeah, I just did
Did
it
you give
before I
one to the
came.
puppy?
No, but I took him to the lady who he woke up at 4 in the morning.
Oh, he did?
Oh yeah,
You have a
he was
puppy?
gone all night for 5 hours. Duke.
Duke?
Oh, it was horrendous. Ben and I were
Stop
driving
telling me you
Snowmass
said you
Village
said
till like
that.
3 in the morning looking for him.
was dumping 3 minutes
He was over that stuff.
He was. That's why it was so weird. And he ended up at a neighbor called us at 4 in the morning and said her dog was going crazy. And so I baked her cookies for waking her up.
So, gentlemen, I gotta tell you, you need to get
I'm
that. I
gonna
didn't
be
know it's in that, but if Alyssa made it, you need to get it.
John a shot.
Get one. Keep
What?
staying on that side, though.
There's no pot in it.
There's
What'd
good
you
in
say?
it.
I said, I don't know
Gotta
what's
come
in
around
it, but I
eventually.
guarantee it's good.
And I can
Well-
don't have
Come
more
around
than one, or
eventually.
you'll be snoring.
Yeah, we know, but it's also a work session. We can-
Yeah, well, you know, they need to know we all have fun up here in Snowmass Village. We're very good.
We all have fun up here in Snowmass Village.
Okay, audience, if you really want to have a treat, come down and have a chocolate chip cookie. Thank you to Alyssa for bringing chocolate chip cookies. Okay, who's going to take the lead?
I'm gonna start talking and let these guys talk and let you guys talk and
Yeah.
go from there. So as everybody knows, through the base village approval, the developers are obligated to deliver building 6 to the town. Through that approval process, there were a number of opportunities to talk about what might go in the building, and the Snowmass Discovery, the find, the science behind it was the lead topic for pretty much the entire approval process. That approval happened December 21st of 15. Since then, Snowmass Discovery, the standalone nonprofit, has been doing their homework, and last summer, early fall, sometime in there, I don't know, August-ish, September-ish, they approached ACES and said, hey, would you guys be interested in participating in this kind of project and exploring it? And there's John
Come on
Rigney.
up, John.
No. And so, I should actually have everybody introduce themselves, but I'll talk for a second like that. So anyhow, they started talking in the spring, or the late summer, early fall, about what may or may not work, how can things happen. They were working amongst themselves. They brought this to the town and said, hey, this is something we're thinking about. And really, as the council's aware, the last several months, we've been trying to figure out, what would a process look like going forward. ACES has done a lot of due diligence on their part. They need some time to do some more due diligence. Snowmass Discovery has obviously done a lot on their part. And really the purpose of tonight's meeting is really to kind of put some faces and some names together for you guys and for these guys to talk about what other issues might be out there. But as I hope the council is aware that, we've talked, or had some memos back and forth at least, saying that we're all interested, but it's going to take some time to do the assessment and make sure it's within all the respective visions and abilities to actually get the job done. But knowing that process has started, we wanted to have that conversation and make sure everybody was up to speed on it and answer any kind of questions that might be out there. And so with that, I don't know, Tom, I don't know if you want to introduce, or Chris, you wanted to introduce, or now the formality's done.
Thank you.
Michael?
Sure, yeah.
John Rigney, obviously.
Why don't I introduce myself and Michael?
Why don't we do that?
There you go. I'm Chris
I should have
Lane.
planned this better, but
Yeah,
this
no,
is
it's
foremost. The cookie's throwing me off.
That's right, the sugar. Yeah, the
Cookies
cookies work
throwing you
really
off.
well for me, although my chocolate might
Give it to
be
him more often.
Yeah, that's a delicious, who made that? Who made that?
I beat Mrs.
I'm a cookie critic. I'm Chris Lane. I'm the CEO of Aspen Center for Environmental Studies. And Michael Carricart is with me, and he's one of our board members.
Good to
And
see you.
thank you for having us. And
Thanks for coming.
We're very grateful for the opportunity to look into this. And I could say more, or I could.
I'll just say, as you guys know me, I'm Tom Cardamone, I'm the ED of Snowmass Discovery, and I look at this as an inspired marriage. We're trying to define what that marriage might be, but I'm just want to register my enthusiasm for this discussion we're having and where it might take us.
I would just add that John Rigney. Look, I think the last several times we've gathered, we've all tried to focus on what this whole project is going to require to be successful in both the short and the long term. And I felt that reaching out to Chris, a former colleague, and his team, and some of the tremendous programming that they have to offer, and some of the collaborative efforts they've brought forth, was a logical discussion. I was very happy that it wasn't just a 5-minute meeting. We continued, and we've kind of taken step by step in a measured way to gauge what their feelings on this project and the excitement surrounding it. Our board at Snowmass Discovery were unanimously in support of pursuing this relationship, for the benefit of the project. So really, they have more to say than I, but I think it's good, and I think it's time well spent, and I think that we've tried to download as much as possible. I mean, literally from day one discovery until things that came up throughout the fall. We've shared everything with these guys. So, you want to chime in?
Well, I mean, our board met recently and came to the conclusion that we're interested in exploring this opportunity and assessing the feasibility of it. Understanding that sooner rather than later is good. So we want to move as fast as we can, but we don't believe that we could move much faster than 6 months. If we can, we will, and if you guys are okay with that, then that's great. But we take this very seriously, and we believe this is something that, if it were to work out, would be a long, long relationship with the town and with the community, and we want to do it right, and we want to put every ounce of our energy into it and making sure we can do it right.
So, first question, what is a definition of feasibility? Is it another capital campaign feasibility, or is it feasibility? We've already done one,
Yeah.
Snowmass Discovery, and by a very well-known person who did I considered an excellent job. Is that the template that you can use, or are we going to start all over from scratch?
Good question. The studies, all the studies that have occurred so far, we have in our possession, and we've shared it with a board subcommittee that has looking into that. So we do not plan on reinventing the wheel or redoing any work that's already been done, or even trying to answer those questions again. Feasibility from our standpoint is certainly a financial feasibility, whether we can raise the funds that are required to build out the interior of the building, as well as programmatic feasibility to make sure that from the moment that place gets completed from an interior standpoint and a capital standpoint to the next X decades or years, that we can make that thing function and operate fiscally sound. So that's our own internal feasibility. It's not I don't characterize it as a new study that needs to be done. It's talking with everyone we know internally.
So it's a combination of looking at cash flow analysis for X number of years, and then supported through an endowment feature is what you're looking at?
I probably wouldn't be that specific yet. An endowment feature is something we normally do.
Yeah, I was going to say, for long-term
Yeah, but
sustainability.
I don't know that that's the case here yet.
Okay.
The pro forma, creating our own pro forma based on all the data we have would certainly be part of that. I think discussing the MOU with all of you over a period of time would be a component of that. Talking to donors for the capital campaign would be a part of that. Looking at synergies within our organization. We've got development department, we've got a marketing department, we've got various departments that could possibly blend. Looking at an org chart for new staffing and what that might take as part of that. So all of that, but not, I certainly, we've had no intention on going backwards on what's been done already, and I think everything that has been done has been well done and sufficient.
So you probably already have some drafts of pro formas and 2 to 3 year cash flow.
Not for this, no. we don't.
Not yet?
No,
Okay.
no.
What's going to take to get there? Is that starting now with the 6 months, or is it starting with the board meeting, or is it, I'm just trying to understand the process. It sounds as though you've done the internal stuff with your board.
Yes, we've still got more work to go there as well. It's a lot. I I think that we're a little bit behind, I think, where you've characterized. We're still looking at the visioning, we're still looking at, the feasibility of capital campaign. We have just completed, and one reason Michael's here is we just finished our strategic plan for looking at 50 years, but realistically, it could be done in the next 5 years. And this fit well into that strategic plan. So, I don't know if you want to comment on that.
Yeah,
I
I
was
think
waiting for Mike to.
Well, the irony is that I was charged with leading the strategic planning committee. And this came to us in the fall when we were putting it all together. So it was really interesting, the timing. I just think what we got from the board was the ability to move forward with this due diligence. And I think that was a big step because one of the biggest concerns there is, is this going to take away from what ACES has been and done? And, there's things to be done there and capital campaigns to be done there as well. And so I think the process that we're going through and we're going to start, so I would say the 6 months would start, now, is going to answer a lot of those questions. And that's our hope. But we do, we're excited about the opportunity, put it that way. We just got to make sure that when we present it back to the board that we have all the boxes ticked.
Do you have an internal timeline on this 6-month review period? As to when you anticipate checking off the different parts?
Well, I'm going to say no, unfortunately. I know that we plan on, and our board meets every other month, so there's a rate of speed there that can't always be increased. I know that if we believe this is something that is not only infeasible, I mean, infeasible's a negative, we want it to be superlative and the best. So if we can't get to that point sooner than 6 months, we'll let you know, for sure. So I think taking the full 6 months is good news. In other words, we think we can succeed if we go that far. We should know sooner than that if we think we can.
Okay.
And we also have put together a subcommittee, though, to work on this specifically.
That's good.
Right.
So we're not waiting every 2 months to present.
Yeah.
So we're working on this as we speak today.
Question for John, maybe. Excuse me. How much do you think, what would the split be? Would it be 50-50 you're looking at? What are you looking at?
As far as the mechanics of relationship with ACES?
Well, I know that not necessarily the relationship, but as far as, let's look at the building. Do we split the building in half and say, excuse me, this much is ACES, this much is Discovery Center, or are we all one? Are we all one?
My sense is this is
Yeah.
one whole thing.
So
It's
we're gonna just
integrated.
blend it all as one?
Yes.
Completely.
Okay. I didn't know I didn't quite understand if it's gonna be half ACES, or you're gonna bring the Eagle out every now and then, once a week or something, the Golden Eagle, just for show. I think it's a great idea, actually. But I just was curious to see how that was gonna blend.
So looking,
agree.
I just want to get some thoughts that you might have, Chris or Mike. As you think about the Discovery Center and core themes, we became very familiar what Tom and the board envisioned. What are you guys envisioning in terms of programmatic or thoughts on key themes as you began to pursue putting pen to paper and looking at org charts and financials?
We still have more work to do on
Okay.
visioning. We certainly believe that all the work that Snowmass Discovery has done and what ACES can bring to the table can be synergistic, and we don't believe that changing that is a good idea. We don't, but we also believe that going beyond that,
I think expanding that
exactly,
vision.
is what we're interested in. The definitives on that, we're not prepared to discuss. We certainly believe in discovery. We certainly believe that climate science, we certainly, and the skill sets that we already have would play to the benefit of this project, related to programming and hands-on experiential science education, environmental science education. We believe that that's all in our wheelhouse and our skill set. I mean, there's so much, I mean, from our I think you guys too, but from our standpoint, there's so much more questions we still need to answer before I can give you I think, a more definitive answer to that. Did you want to add anything to that?
Well, I think one of the things that ACES does very well also is partnerships. And so collaboration with SKICO and the Discovery Center and the
Right.
town of Snowmass Village. I think that's a huge component, especially as you talk about core values.
Right.
You know, and so that's something that ACES has done for the last, 50 years. And so I think that's an important piece as we go into this, because we're going to take, as part of our due diligence, we're going to take pieces from each one of the players and incorporate that into the vision of what we want to have there.
You know, one of the greatest benefits you bring to the community is not only all your various programming, but far more all the education you provide. And this is gonna be circled back to Tom or John. I don't remember how many seats we had planned for the educational down in the lower level for seating. Was it about 100 or 150?
Not that big.
Not that big.
No.
So that means
Probably
we,
about 25 or something.
But
Oh.
kind of to that, where we are in design-ish, I mean, the theater, kind of the original idea was smaller, but if you remember the last time when East-West came in and presented, we talked about adding square footage, and if you
Yes.
remember,
right.
that was an extra 1,000-ish square feet.
Mm-hmm.
And so those are the things that I think ACES is looking at right now. It's like, all right, well, if that's in the mix, how would that work? And they're trying to figure out, is that the right size? What are the other assets?
Well, I'm thinking, Base Village Conference Room, all of those
Well, and
various,
trust
all
me, we
of
brought
those.
that up. It's like if you need to
That's
have
very
400 people, it's a
Yeah.
1-minute walk. If you can
Yeah.
have 100 people, maybe it fits here. But that's, I think, a good example of
Yeah.
the stuff these guys are working through.
It's exactly the kind of thing we're thinking.
Mhm.
We're in 3 schools full-time, year-round. We partner with 52 schools year-round in our field programs. And when Michael mentions partnerships, it's not just that. It's partnerships with the people that we work with to educate them. So education's a huge component of whatever this ends up being, education is critical from our standpoint, adult and child.
Mm-hmm.
When we've talked, and it comes up all the time, but we purposely bring it up all the time, is we think when they're doing their assessment, one of the things we're really looking for as a town, and you need to correct me if I'm wrong, is we want to make sure there's vitality with it also, that,
Right.
it's not just, one and done or that kind of stuff, and that there's a reason to go and visit and to come back and visit and to visit a third time, and I think they've heard that, and that's the beauty of the programming is it's just that, is that that's what they do and what they really do well, and how does that, factor into vitality? That's what they're hopefully gonna help us understand and bring to the table.
It occurs to me that part of what happens here, if we've got 6 months that we hadn't been thinking in terms of using up to do a due diligence period, our museum consultant, Andy Anway, is saying we need to be thinking about ordering exhibits in the second quarter of 2017 to open doors in 2019. And so you start thinking, well, there's a scheduling problem if that's necessary. And yet I also think of Andy's refrain or mantra that it's all of the vitality is all about program. If you've got the space, you don't have to have it filled up with exhibits immediately. You can hit the ground running with programs and have some things in the space that don't take 2 years to prepare and have the lights on during the day, at night, and have that kind of vitality. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but anticipating the request for 6 months of due diligence, I'm thinking about how do we work with that? How do we make sure the doors can open in 2019 and you can have a vibrant space? And I believe there's a way to do that.
Do you have a national board as well, or is it pretty much all local? I mean, I don't know that much about the board structure for ACES.
We do not have a national board or national advisory council, but if you're asking as our board, local or national, it's a combination of
Okay,
both.
okay, that's helpful.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any other questions.
Me neither.
I mean,
We're happy we're making progress, talking to each other, and I guess I look forward to 6 months from now, because that'll be a good thing.
And the commitment, I think, on all the staff's part is, constant communication, making sure we're up to speed, helping out, answering questions, and making sure that the decision that's made is thorough, and, I'm gonna root for yes, of course, but, no matter which direction it goes, it's a thorough analysis, and we can say, here's why it's gonna work, and here's the things we gotta pay attention to.
Yeah, because the hard part, 6 months from now, if the answer is no, now we've got to do an RFP, and we're way behind the 8 ball to get building 6.
And we've talked about that, and I think there's some things we can do to safeguard the town's interest in that, but we're all aware of that timeline for sure.
Well, I guess I look forward to, just, more information as you work your way through your study, even if it, comes to Clint and then to us, just sort of kept somewhat in the loop as things are moving in the right direction.
Chris, your next board meeting is when?
February 28th.
And do you have on the agenda, I assume you have this on the agenda?
Absolutely, and we'll have a committee meeting several times before then.
Okay, and then do you have some of the Discovery people coming to your board meeting that could add anything, or do you need anybody like?
Well, we've had people come already,
Right.
and we most likely will have people come again, but we haven't set that on the agenda yet.
I mean, I don't know if it's too soon to get a feedback from your next board meeting, even if it's to Clint, and Clint can get back to us or something, just as Madam Mayor was saying, so we don't put us behind the 8 ball here in 6 months. If we get some kind of feedback, it'd be really helpful for us to make us feel a little bit more comfortable.
I completely agree, and furthermore, Clint and I have been emailing probably weekly, as well as John and I, and, it behooves us as well to communicate. If things start turning south, first thing, I want you guys to be the first to know if it goes that way, so we will absolutely communicate, I'd say, at worst, weekly or
We've been
bi-weekly.
good at it, we'll keep it up, I'm
Yeah.
committed to that, for
Okay,
sure.
thank you.
Well, firstly, I want to thank John for reaching out to ASUS. I think that was a strategic move and one that was very, very sharp on your part, so.
Well,
Thank
thanks.
you.
I think it's good. I think it's exciting. There's a lot of discovery. We took time. Clint's been a good resource on this to give him his due, and the developers have been helpful to paint a picture of the broader scope of where this building sits. So it's a good step, each meeting that you guys invite us to partake in is usually good, solid discussion, and look forward to the February meeting.
If you want to twist their arm on the way out, we'll just knock them down, you can put their arm behind their back and pull it up, and they can say yes.
I was gonna say, for more cookies, we'll tell you what you want.
What more do you
You
want?
think I just baked him?
That's right, that's right.
Thank you very much.
Great, thank you for your time.
Thanks very much.
Take care.
Appreciate it.
Okay, do we have anything else this evening to come before our work session? Please note, it's 20 to 5, and we're done. Y'all go home and watch the national championship.
Was there a game on tonight? I just have a quick question, Clint.
Right team's not on, well, my team.
How the parking,
None of the race.
I'm sorry, what?
how the digital parking is working out in regards to, I had several community people mention to me that of course, they got tickets and they got them taken care of course, 'cause anyway, there was some, I'm just, besides the fact that you mentioned it in your tidbits, it was last Friday or the Friday before, whatever, one of those weeks. And I actually spoke with someone in the parking lot today, offered me to ride around with him. He said having a little trouble focusing on, because the plates are too close to the car sometimes.
I haven't heard that one.
Yeah, what's his name? Is it Warren? Willard. And, but he said it's working out good. They like it, and just kind of curious what the overall.
I think overall it's going well. The big chunks are right, and we're going to continue to tweak for a while. Yeah, it's a new thing. When you go to the hotel, you got to the front desk person's got to be like correctly type in the license plate, and so as an example, if they type in CO space 123 and it's not, it's CO 1234.
Okay.
Those are the kind of things that.
So on the administrative side,
Yeah, and when we see that, those are the things that we're continuing to work through. I think it's fair to say that the progress is great, that we think the product is right, but there's going to be some room to continue to, tweak and make better. I hadn't heard the focusing issue. You know more than I do.
He mentioned it, and I didn't explore it, because I told him I'll get a hold of Brian, and I would like to ride around with him for about an hour sometime, and just to see how it works,
Sure.
and be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, the big coordination.
I see John's car, I'm gonna make sure he has his permit.
The big coordinations with the hotels, with the private property owners, with the people that have the specific permits, those are the things we
Those-
continue to work through and try and, make it, what's gone on is it should be easier to make the permit and to get the permit, and we just gotta get people in tune with the program and how to access it and those types of things.
I think you've done a great job.
Yeah, I would love to take credit, but a lot of other people have done a good job.
Follow-up with Erickson was superb, so thank you so very much for handling that.
That's it, I think, unless you guys have questions.
No.
What's on our agenda?
You having trouble?
Yeah, for next week.
We only talk about that during the regular meetings, not the work sessions.
Okay, yeah.
I can,
John wants to get back to the game.
No, I don't care.
Game's not on till 6.
It's not included in the agenda, though, that's my
I
only point.
understand.
it'll take me a second to pull it up, but if you, I can.
I have it up right now.
What's,
Update on my roundabout for the holiday season and feedback on CCP features. Chapter 16A, land use development and admin modifications from the adoption of ordinance 4 and 13. FDA certifications and assurances, that's the grant stuff for,
transit.
transit, yeah. An introduction of an ordinance creating a citizen board for the poster.
And then, town council, I just pulled it up. Town council liaisons, you need to commit to which liaison positions you wanna be on. And then this one just on this morning, we need to give you an update for the EOTC, cause there's an EOTC meeting on the,
19.
The 19th.
That following Thursday.
Is there anything on that agenda? I haven't really looked.
we haven't seen the agenda, and it's always tough for those meetings, because that agenda doesn't come out till Friday. Our stuff to you goes out on Thursday, so you end up getting a 2-sentence thing for us saying, well, we'll tell you on Monday for the Thursday, so I don't have an answer for you, sorry.
But next week it'll be Tuesday.
That's right. It's Tuesday because of Martin Luther King.
Yes. So a lot of that will be on consent. Obviously, some of it can't be, but
There's not a lot of stuff on there for discussion.
a lot of introduction of ideas and making sure you're comfortable with the direction we're going.
When will we hear from East West and as to, they haven't come in and really greeted us as the new, them and SKICO and KSL, are they all in town? Do they have any updates, like the game plan moving forward, or?
I'm sure we can.
I'm sure they do, okay.
Yeah, no, we could set something up, last Friday, or is it, I'm gonna have my Fridays wrong, might it be 2 Fridays ago? They, submitted the Building 6 information that was required.
Okay.
And so, let me get a better grip of what that timing's gonna be. That might be a good opportunity to get it all in together and.
That was just, I'm glad we had ACES come forward.
Oh,
Along
absolutely.
with, just that open communication is really critical.
And to their credit, when I said, hey, it's some FaceTime, they said, absolutely, we get it, and
It's always FaceTime.
buttoned it up.
FaceTime forms relationships, not emails.
Go Buckeyes.
Okay. Go Buckeyes.
Really funny,
Ah,
Glenn.
sorry.
How about the Wolverines that got screwed out of the Ohio State game? But anyway.
I wouldn't go.
Clearly, they didn't belong there anyway, they lost to Florida State.
Yeah, by 1 point. Look at the big blowout on Ohio
Look at
State.
the last 4 games, they didn't belong anywhere.
On that note,
Yeah,
We
really.
don't necessarily need
Wanna
a
talk about IU?
motion to adjourn, do we?
Yeah,
'Cause,
yeah.
Do we need a motion to adjourn?
No.
She asked if we wanted to talk about IU, and I said,
Oh,
sure.